Three, two, one. Welcome to another episode of the Backward Point Podcast. This is a podcast about cricket and more centric about Pakistan cricket. I am your co-host Bashar, and with me is my brother and co-host. I don't know if it's like which one's first. Are you my brother first? Or are you my co-host first? Would one be possible without the other?
On this platform, on this platform, I'm your co-host first.
Okay.
Welcome, guys. After a very long hiatus, after our first episode, going away for about 6 weeks, and now we're back in smack dab middle of PSL season, and
The beginning of it, actually.
the beginning of it. Yeah.
We're 2 games in as we record this.
And this is probably why we've sat down, is because PSL season's back, cricket's in full swing. This Test cricket has revived. There's a lot to talk about.
Wow, man. Test cricket has revived.
It's revived. Have you seen the matches against in India?
I've
and
seen the
Australia?
matches. I've actually
people are
live.
watching that, bro. People are interested in what Jadeja's putting on his fingers.
Yeah, I think he got banned like 25% of his match fees, right?
There we go. What was he
That's
doing? Why
insane.
was he banned? Is there something
Anyways,
guilty?
This is gonna be more of a PSL preview, PSL discussion.
I think
sort
we
of
could go a
episode.
little bit and tell them where we were for the past 6 weeks.
Yeah, basically, speaking of reviving Test cricket,
You
I
you were the
basically
forefront.
went to Karachi. I watched the second test, day 5, to revive Test cricket in Karachi, Pakistan.
And how did that work out? You think
Great.
it's revived?
It was the only match we did not lose.
Yeah. Hey,
Otherwise, it was supposed to be a series, a tour whitewash.
You know what it is? I genuinely think this. Well, we have a very small sample size to determine this, but I genuinely think that we are the good luck for the Pakistani cricket team. Every single game that we've seen live in person, I'm talking about like in the stadium, we have not lost.
Yeah, we're basically 3-3. 2 wins, 1 draw. We've watched 3 matches. Just to recap, we watched the 2019 World Cup, Pakistan versus South Africa at Lords. We won that match. Credits to Harrisville's brilliant innings. And then the next game was against New Zealand. Edgbaston, incredible, memorable century from
Babar Azam, one of the greatest
possibly
knocks.
his best.
Yeah.
And then just recently went to watch Test cricket, second test against New Zealand, day 5.
How was the vibe? How did you enjoy it? You've never seen Test cricket before.
I wanted to do a separate episode.
We could just briefly talk about it.
But yeah, my experience was fantastic. I loved going. I kind of took the opportunity to go. I had a very small window. Am I going? Am I not going? But you're going to Pakistan for Shadis. You're like busy in back-to-back events. So we came back from an event like 4 a.m. and then the test match was early morning. And the sole reason why I went was so I could see Babar Azam bat. I'm a huge Babar Azam fan. And so I saw the scorecard. We were like, I think 10 for 2 overnight.
Yeah.
We had lost Abdullah Shafiq, and then Mir Hamza was the night watchman.
Yeah.
And so when I went in the morning, I saw Shan Masood and Imam were batting. And I'm like, okay, one more wicket. And then Babar Azam's in.
There we go.
So I had to go in super early, make sure I get there, because you never know with these guys, man. Like, they can.
And the way that Sean threw his wicket, it's just like,
I saw it in real time. I was furious.
you know what's wild? I didn't know you were going. So in the morning when I woke up, I saw your story and I was like, bro, this guy's at the National Stadium right now. So I called you. And right between our call, Babar got out. Did you remember that?
Yeah, it was like, I was actually in contact with 3 of my friends here, and I was giving them live updates. And so my updates were quicker than Crick Info.
Yeah.
They were quicker than what's on TV.
Of course, you were in person. Like when Babar went out, I was like, wait, let me check. And you were like, bro, I'm right here. He's walking down.
Yeah, I think before that, Babar like cracked 2 boundaries. And one of my buddies, he messaged me. He's like, yo, it looks like Babar's batting on a different pitch. I'm like, bro, he just got out. It's like, oh, jinxed it.
But it was good
terrific.
experience.
I was in the VIP stands, great seats, great view.
These elitist Karachiites, man. All
Yeah.
they want to do is be in the VIP stands.
I was trying for media box, but
There we go.
anyway.
This guy was aiming high, Willis. He's aiming high.
Yeah. So, I mean, great experience. Just to witness Sarfaraz's century in his homecoming tour in front of his home crowd. I think we'll do a totally separate episode of what the experience is like of watching a game at NSK.
But we have bigger fish to fry right now. The PSL has begun. PSL 8 is on its way. 2 games in.
8 PSL.
HBL. We're not sponsored by HBL. Why should we? I don't give a shit about HBL. HBL, if you want to sponsor us, then we'll take your name. But if you don't sponsor us, we won't take your name. So it's just the PSL for
Just
me.
the PSL.
PSL number 8 started yesterday. First game was Multan Sultans versus Lahore Qalandars. Arguably one of the best opening games of all time. I would let the comment section decide and the fans decide on that. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Loved seeing Shaheen back as a man who just got married. You know, the vibe of coming back to work is it's quite alluring. You know, I was very excited to sit back on pod with you, man. Podding with you is fun. So I get that feeling. I feel like Shaheen right now myself, beaming in with this podcast. So I get what he was going through there. Couldn't get a first over wicket from him, but what a spell by him, man. You know, arguably should have been the man of the match.
Yeah, I feel like you can divide a man's life into two parts, life
Okay.
before marriage and after marriage.
Yeah.
It's the same with any player as well. You can see, because you always hear like, man, after his marriage, performance dipped.
Virat Kohli.
And that's kind of weird because people actually, they're not like it's the marriage or like it's the wife. That's an Indian thing.
It's
So messed up.
Hindu traditions and whatnot. We don't have to
Yeah.
get into them, but for sure.
Of course.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, just to watch Shaheen, that's one of the reasons why I was tuning into the match, because I wanted to see, has Shaheen fully recovered from his knee injury? Because after that final, he limped off the ground, and these knee injuries and back injuries are such where if you don't do proper rehab and proper recovery, proper strengthening, this is gonna keep reoccurring.
Yeah, it's gonna haunt you.
So, because my main focus is just Shaheen, man. Shaheen and his next 10 years, this man is gold. We need to protect him at all costs. I wasn't in favor of him playing the World Cup, and as you can see, his injury aggravated, and he missed the whole 5 test matches at home. So anyways, just to watch Shaheen sprint in, his pace was up. He's bowling up to like low 140s. Ball was swinging.
We didn't see that in the World Cup.
No. Just to consider that he's coming back after 3 months, and the line and length and accuracy he was bowling with, like, it just shows that Shaheen is a class apart. So, I mean, I was just glad to see Shaheen back. And then I feel like Lahore has an incredible bowling lineup.
It's almost at this point like cheating.
Yeah, and then not even Rashid Khan hasn't even joined the team yet. So
exactly. So when you have Rashid in the team, what's their top 4? It's like it's undefeated. It's one of those superstar teams that we used to play in Cricket 05. Remember that game?
Yeah.
Deep cut for those Cricket 05 fans. But it was one of those where it was just like everybody's that team stacked, undefeatable. You can't. They will defend anything. They will defend 80 on that pitch.
Exactly. Like you have Shaheen's overs up front. Haris also balls in the power play. And then you have Rashid, and then you have Zaman Khan, also a really young, good prospect. Defended, I think, 15 or 16 in the last over.
Good ball.
They have David Wisa. They have Sikandar Raza.
What do you think about the game, though?
I thought it was an incredible game.
Yeah. Is it the best opener of all time? Inaugurated game of all time?
I thought it was a good opener. I thought it was an impressive opener. Because, I mean, Multan and Lahore defending champions, then Multan also have had 2 really good back-to-back seasons. I was just shocked to see Multan's batting lineup. It's just basically, it's Shan Masood and Rizwan, and then they only have like pinch hitters. They have David Miller, they have Karen Pollard, they have Khozul Shah. So basically they have no middle order, but they have like a really strong lower middle order. So their whole mindset is...
Their middle order is a lower middle order.
Basically. So their whole mindset while chasing was the openers have to play the first 10 overs, take the game as deep as possible, and then even if you need like 14, 15 and over during the last 6, 7 overs, they have Pollard and Miller and Khozul Shah to chase it. And they almost did.
I mean, Shan Masood and Rizwan are anchor batsmen, right? Do you think they would benefit if one of maybe David Miller opens with Shan and then Rizwan goes one down, or maybe Shan goes one down? You know what I mean? Like, so they have a little bit of a variety there.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure. But David Miller's sort of like a death
maybe not Miller,
specialist.
maybe somebody else.
Maybe, but this is an opening pair that's been working for them for a long time.
Yeah.
Like they've won a PSL with the same opening pair, and so they might not want to change it.
Sure. I mean, yeah, we've seen that with the Pakistani cricket team as well.
Yeah.
We saw a bunch of criticism against that opening pair, but they refused to change it for better or for worse.
Please change it. Please.
Time will tell.
I'm not for it. I'm just not.
All right. Yeah. I mean, that's a whole different conversation.
I even have an issue going to the next game. I even have an issue with Babar opening for Peshawar, and
Man,
the reason
these Babar haters,
listen,
bro.
the reason why I say this is by Babar opening. So Babar is opening with Mohammad Haris, which is Haris is a great opening guy.
Perfect. Yeah.
ULS the power play, hit the first ball for 4 to Mohammad Amir. But
Fearless cricketer.
But at what cost is Babar opening? Babar's opening at the cost of Saim Ayub, a really interesting, really exhilarating and a really bright future kid who is batting 2 down because of 1 down because of Babar.
I have no issues with
If
Babar.
Saim Ayub was lefty, if he goes up the order, if he opens as he did in the National T20 Cup, he was, I think, the highest run scorer, and he has an incredible range of shots. And actually, I heard a lot of good things about him. So firstly, I saw him play because he was the highest run scorers in domestic. I followed his games, and he played some incredible, crazy, like Surya Kumar Yadav-esque shots.
Oh wow, big name.
And then when I went to Karachi, our friend Sherbaz, he did net practice with Saim, and he was telling me that he's an incredible player. Like, he's one to watch out for.
Yeah.
He's already batting with the likes of Babar and Haris. So I would really like to see Babar come 1 down again, and then Saim, Ayub, and Haris open lefty righty combination, and then let them both make the use of the power play.
All right, let me put this in front of you. Would you not want your best player in the team to face as many balls as possible?
True.
So why not?
So
why not?
so then why is Babar coming 1 down?
So let's say
ODIs?
Saim Ayub goes up, right? Saim Ayub and Haris play 6-7 overs. You think Babar coming down in the 8th over with, like, let's say 7 over 75 for 1, Babar comes in. You think that's a good for him to build out the rest of his innings for the next 13 overs? Is that more positive for the team, or him coming up in the start, taking his time, so there's not much at stake? But you're also talking, this argument infuriates me because you're talking about the guy who has not once but twice scored centuries while chasing in T20s. Twice.
Sure.
I'm not done yet. 9+ or 10+ opening century stands with Rizwan, and half of them are chasing. What are you talking? What is the argument here? He scored at 147 today, strike rate.
So my whole mindset is, so if you break the T20 game down, yeah, you can break it down into 3 phases: the power play, middle overs, and death overs.
Sure.
So 1 to 6 power play, 7 to 15 middle overs, then 16 to 20 the death overs. You need specialist players in each phases of the game to make the most of each phase. And I feel like Babar and Rizwan, they're both makeshift openers. They're not genuine openers. And you need someone.
I have a big problem with
you
that
need
statement.
someone like a Fakhr. You need someone like a Sharjeel to open the innings, make the most of the power play.
Sharjeel golden ball duck, by the way.
Whatever. I mean, I'm just giving out names,
Yeah,
right?
don't
So-
shimmy through that. It's a
so-
golden ball duck.
one game doesn't define your career.
All right. All right.
So what I'm trying to say is you need specialist players for each phase of the game. And I would even argue that isn't Virat Kohli India's best player? And he's batting 1
Not
down?
anymore.
Virat Kohli is not India's best player.
No. That's a whole different podcast.
But,
But
you're,
in T20s, no.
You're just comparing.
In T20s, no. Can you say this with conviction that he is?
I would actually say in T20s, Sky is their best player.
Yeah.
And he's coming number 4.
Well, you gotta speak with Rohit about that, bro. I have a problem with that as well. But Sky is a pinch hitter. Sky is David Miller type. David Miller is like he'll be successful 1 out of 8 games. Sky is successful 4 out of 8 games.
I just feel like you need to be flexible and you need to do what's in the best interest of the team. And Babar, the way his game is, you have to accommodate Babar's playing style by playing guys who play at a very high strike rate around him. So, for example, in Zalmi, Haris opens with him. Saim Ayub, they both bat with like strike rates of upwards of 140 plus. Tom Kohler Cadmore, TKC, played incredibly fast today. So in order for Babar to open, you have to accommodate him with players around him to make up for his slow batting.
I will hear an argument for Rizwan going 1 down. I will not hear an argument about Babar going 1 down. I think Babar and Fakhr is a good opening pair. Would you agree?
No, I'm not in favor of Babar opening. I feel like you need 2 guys who can really capitalize the power play. Bro, you have to.
You don't think Babar can capitalize the power?
Do you remember the time where Imran Nazir and Shahid Afridi used to open for Pakistan?
Yes, and that was one of the most unstable opening orders. That was like a completely
Okay, but
it was like a fever dream thinking about Imran Nazir and Shahid Afridi opening.
That was ODIs, right? But in T20s, you can risk that.
And you know what that reminds? I just don't want to go back to 20 for 2 and 4 overs, man. That just it. I would rather go 10 over 71 or 72 for 0. I would rather do that than go 20 for 2 and 4. I'm done with that life, bro. Those Tawfiq Umar, Imran Farhad, Yasir Hamid days. Speaking of Yasir Hamid, is one of the selectors. Rest in peace. I'm done with that. Salman. But out on the second slip every time. I'm just done with that. I like this. This is refreshing. It's stable. There's a
It's
back
conservative.
boulder. It's not conservative. It's not conservative because the day that this pair stops giving you wins, I'm in for it. You're saying right now, again in basketball
It's not a long-term
terminology,
solution.
you're saying Scottie Pippen and Michael Jordan are great together in the starting. We should bench Scottie and make him come off the bench. Make him become a sixth man. That's what you're saying. They're the best people. They should have the most time in the game.
I guess time will tell.
Time will tell. And I think, Babar is a well-rounded player. Like he's proven that. Test matches, he goes 2 down. That's a perfect spot for him. One days, he goes 1 down. Perfect spot for him. I think opening in T20s, I see nothing wrong with that. That's just my opinion. But I do want to get into something because something really interesting happened today. Because Babar went to open, he was pitted against Mohammad Amir. Now, wait. I have a serious question about this. And I don't know if we didn't rehearse this, so it's all off the cuff. But I would like to know your opinion, the timeline of Amir's fall from grace. How did that start? How did it begin? Where did it go? And how are we here that you, resident fellow claiming to be a Karachiite, me claiming to be a Karachiite, living over 7 to 8 years in Karachi, the city of Karachi, Gulistan-e-Johar, are not supporting Karachi Kings this season because of the likes of Mohammad Amir? You've changed your allegiances to Islamabad. I've changed my allegiances to Peshawar. What has happened to the city of Karachi and Mohammad Amir as a whole that they've fallen from grace so much that today, in the first over, it felt like war. It didn't feel like a game. It felt like Pakistan-India to an extent. That rivalry was so strong. Why is it that we have to witness this?
You typically associate a high-octane match in the PSL with the games of like Lahore versus Karachi.
Correct.
The biggest rival. It's like the Pakistan-India of PSL.
Almost, yeah.
But today's game really had a lot of spice in it. I was looking forward to it.
Or spite in it?
You can say both. Because I feel like recapping from what happened in the last PSL to this PSL, some major changes, and one of the big ones was Babar Azam leaving Karachi Kings and going to Peshawar Zulmi.
A team he was with for 7 years.
But last season he had a horrendous season. They lost 9 out of 10 matches in the league stage. They finished last. And so Karachi traded him to Peshawar, and then they got Shoaib Malik, they got Haider Ali, and they reinstated Imad Wasim as captain. So now, like you mentioned, we as fellow residents of Karachi, former residents of Karachi, I am not supporting Karachi Kings anymore. Just because of how toxic that team is. The likes of Shoaib Malik, Imad Wasim, Mohammad Amir, Sharjeel Khan, Wasim Akram. I cannot stand these people alone, let alone in a group of a team. And that too, my city's team, Karachi. So I've decided I'm not going to support them anymore. And my new allegiance is with Islamabad United. Go Shadab.
This guy just wants that the Islamabad United merch, bro.
I do. I need that. And so that was the whole kind of reason behind.
Who's the manager for Islamabad?
It's Rehan.
Yeah, hasn't he moved to managing Pakistan now?
Officially, it hasn't been announced, but it's in the works.
Yeah.
Okay. So
right.
good stuff. But so your question was about like what happened to Mohammad Amir. So post 2019 World Cup, he had an incredible World Cup. He was the highest wicket taker for Pakistan. He got a 5 for just incredible World Cup.
Also, sorry, just an aside. I feel like I feel privileged being a part of that World Cup, seeing Shaheen and Amir be the strike bowlers. That's a crazy, wild time, almost a fever dream.
And then Wahab coming back with the late reverse swing at high pace.
Yeah.
And I think our experience in that World Cup 2019 was that we realized that there's only 2 to 3 real superstars in the Pakistan team, which were Babar, Amir, and then Shaheen was up and coming. So people really, really loved Amir. Incredible redemption arc from him when he made a comeback, getting Virat Kohli out 2 balls in a row,
in the
Champions Trophy.
2017, yeah.
Arguably one of Pakistan history's greatest spells. But so the question is, what was his fall from grace? So Mohammad Amir, basically post World Cup, he announced his retirement from red ball cricket, test cricket, and he said that his body doesn't allow him to continue playing the long form, and that was just before Pakistan's very, very important tour to Australia. And we needed some senior bowlers in our team. Both Babar Azam and Mohammad Amir, they both decided they're going to walk away from the red ball. And then so Amir continued to play for a few months. And then Misbah and Waqar came in as management.
Yeah.
And then Amir sort of abruptly announced his retirement, stating that he would not play under this board, this management, and the coaching of Misbah and Waqar.
So there was friction there.
There was definite friction. Amir's performances were down. His fitness wasn't up to the mark. And so rightfully so, I feel like he was dropped. And he sort of took that personally.
Yeah, you think his ego was hurt there.
His ego was hurt. What typically happens is if you get dropped, just go back in domestic, perform. You're still a great bowler. Perform, finish top 3, come back into the team as everyone does.
Hassan Ali is a prime example.
Hassan Ali had an incredible Babar Azam trophy, player of the match in the final, player of the tournament, with the bat and ball, came back into the team, as he was the test player for Pakistan of the year for 2021. Incredible year.
Yeah.
And then we just saw recently Sarfaraz do the same thing, domestic, performing, coming back into the team, scoring a century to draw the match. So that's typically what happens, right? You get dropped, domestic, perform, back in the team. Amir said he's going to retire, and he's going to have his retirement upheld until Misbah, Waqar, and this board with Ramiz Raja and stuff are going to be there.
Last time I checked, they're not there anymore.
It's been a few months. And I think one of the other reasons why he didn't want to play under Ramiz Raja's chairmanship is because Ramiz was very anti this spot fixing group to come back into the team.
Man, who knew Ramiz was like the oracle? He was on something that we were not on.
Yeah. And so we noticed Ramiz left, Waqar left, Misbah left, but Amir did not take back his retirement.
Which is why?
Which is, I think he was waiting for the right opportunity.
Or
which he now has, actually.
Or he was just very comfortable playing franchise cricket and getting that bank.
Yeah, I read a news article after the World Cup in 2019 by one of these really credible Pakistan journalists, and he mentioned that Amir is not interested in playing for Pakistan. All he wants to do is play county, play leagues. His wife, Amir's wife, is a British national, so eventually he will also get the nationality, and he may even qualify for the IPL and other leagues where he can qualify to play. Which was, I was like shocked to hear that. I'm like, but Amir at the time was like, 27, 28. Like he had a few years of his prime possibly to offer to Pakistan. But just as the events followed through, you could have sort of see that what the news report said is happening. It's unfolding. And
I guess the Pakistani fans feel cheated on, feel neglected, feel rejected. Feels like
betrayed.
We betrayed. We gave. It feels like we gave this person, this girl, another chance. She came back into our lives just to ruin us more. We feel like we've been let down twice because this person really didn't deserve a second chance, arguably, and we gave him the second chance only for him to leave again. I feel like that's where the animosity stems from, and then it gets really bad when you start hearing stuff that Amir is saying in the press, the way he's acting about current players. Very, infamously, he tweeted against Babar Azam a few times. Retweeted Shoaib Malik's very, very toxic tweet about Babar Azam.
Against the chief selector.
Tweeted against the chief selector. Like, these practices just started tainting people's impression of him. Nobody can take away the Champions Trophy T20 spell that he bowled, the final spell that arguably won you the game. Nobody can take that away. Nobody can take the 2016 Asia Cup spell away from him. Nobody can take these moments.
The 2009 World Cup final.
For sure. Nobody can take these moments away from him. But at the end of the day, he's a 2-star medal holder. 2 medals he's held for Pakistan in the T20 World Cup and the Champions Trophy, and yet his fall from grace is unlike anyone we've seen in a very long time. And it just and then you come to yet today where we saw even Karachi, the crowd split in such a massive way where you one side was chanting Amir, 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 one side was chanting Babar, Babar, Babar. And then it all came full circle when my boy just came out of his crease, smashed him down the cover, and it was the end of that. You know, he's talking about in the media, just talking ill about Babar. I treat him like a tail ender.
Yeah, he said that. Amir said, bowling to Babar is the same for me as bowling to a tail ender.
I mean, why? Why would you say that?
Yeah.
He's the greatest of all time in Pakistan. It's not even arguable. His numbers suggest he is. And if he keeps this track record, he'll be one of the greatest of all times ever. You can't just say that. You have to give flowers and pay respects to the greats in their lifetime as they're playing. Like, I've never heard Wasim, Bakar, Shoaib. And Shoaib was very, very contentious in the media. He's never talked shit about Tendulkar while Tendulkar was playing. Right? There was always respect. There was always that heated amount of I want to better you, but there was always respect, right? The prime example, Shoaib Akhtar in the Chennai Test, bowled Dravid, bowls Tendulkar. He knows what he's done. He feels ecstatic, right? He doesn't go overboard. He doesn't be like, yo, I own, he's my bunny now, Tendulkar's my bunny. None of that. There's respect there. The thing with Amir that rubs me the wrong way is that he just feels like his arrogance, his skill does not back his arrogance anymore, right? If this was 2009, 10, 11 Amir, well, we didn't really see much of a 10, 11 Amir, but this was like the Amir that was supposed to be, the arrogance would make sense. But you're not the fastest bowler in the world. Your ball doesn't come back in anymore. You get smacked for 40 and 4. What are you talking about, right? You don't. It's not like Shoaib Akhtar coming and clocking at 155, 160 on average. What is the arrogance for? And then you get put to your place. What was that? Like the false aggression that he was showing Babar?
Yeah, the most shocking thing was the first ball he bowled. I'm expecting like an in swinging 145 plus Yorker to Mohammad Haris, and it was a length ball, no movement. Mohammad Haris sort of cleared the leg, hit him over mid on.
Good shot though, brother. Clear shot.
So we saw a replay of Mohammad Amir going back to ball, and he dropped a really big.
Yeah, he just started cussing him out. Like, why would you do that?
The man's 20.
He's a kid, and he's better than you at this point.
And
he's
then
in the national squad.
And then you saw Babar hit a exquisite cover drive.
Glorious drive.
It's vintage Babar.
Vintage Babar.
Classical, signature.
Love that it was against Amir as well. That's why I wanted you to take us through that history, because it's poisonous at this point.
Yeah.
Shoaib Malik had to come out and be like, no, these guys all respect each other, but why would you have to say that?
Like there was the ball that you're talking about. So Babar hit Amir for 2 4s in his opening spell, and there was a delivery where Babar sort of blocked it and went back to Amir. Amir held the ball. He wanted to fake throw it, but he actually threw it. Luckily missed Babar by a long way, but just false aggression. And throughout this whole thing, I really loved Babar Azam's body language.
Composure was all it was.
Tunnel vision. This battle between him and Babar, him and Amir or Imad, that wasn't his goal. His goal was to win the match, score runs, and he's just a hyper-focused guy.
I read on Twitter that Babar is not a tail ender. He's a ponytail ender. Rest in peace. Why is Imad? Bro, Imad has one of the worst haircuts. That's a whole pod I can do that. He has one of the worst styles of all time. That Radhe Mohan haircut, and then now this ponytail. Like, when does it end?
Yeah.
When will it end? This is in some levels, I kind of don't mind that Karachi's team is so toxic. Karachi has a history of being toxic. Some of the worst styles that come out of Karachi. Karachi's political history is in front of everyone. Some of the most toxic stuff has happened there at expense of people's lives, and now the cricket, extremely toxic. And I mean, I'm in for the drama and the tea. I can't wait for them to rematch now. It's just that kind of makes me feel like the disrespect element is just a little bit too high on Mohammad Amir's part. The whole Twitter was against him. Like, I was just following that throughout the day, and I could see how happy people were. And if you took me to 2019, right in London, right, and in Birmingham, right after we won that match against New Zealand, you told me, you know what, in 6 years he's gonna fall so bad from grace that you're gonna be happy when Babar Azam, who just scored a century in that game in Birmingham, you'll be happy when he like scores against Amir, and it won't be like a rivalry type thing. It'll be like, yo, I'm like genuinely feeling good that this guy is doing bad. I would have been like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, people are praying for Amir's downfall, and Amir isn't helping his cause. Um, I also wanted to talk about the other teams in the PSL.
Yeah, let's go. I've only seen the four. I mean, this is the first PSL after we've announced backward points, so I'm actually like paying attention this time. I've only seen the two games, 4 teams. Which team have we not seen yet?
We haven't seen Quetta and Islamabad play.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm really looking forward to that game because I sort of have a top 4 in my head of the top 4 teams that are going to qualify. You know, could never really predict, but looking at the teams on paper, I feel like Peshawar and Karachi, they're lacking in their bowling department. And so, in my opinion, I feel like Islamabad, Quetta, Lahore, and Multan are going to be the top 4 in the playoffs.
Can you elaborate why you chose Islamabad as your secondary team?
Because I really feel like they have a good core group that's been playing together for the past like 4 or 5 years. And by that, I mean Shadab, Asif Ali, Fahim Ashraf. I feel like they also have Colin Monroe, Paul Sterling. And they know how to pick a team, and they know which players they need for which part of the game. So in the power play, they have players like Gurbaz from Afghanistan. They have Alex Hales. They have Paul Sterling. In the death overs, they have Asif Ali. They have Fahim Ashraf. In the middle overs, they have Shadab himself, Azam Khan. And I'm really looking forward to see Abrar Ahmed, the finger spinner.
Oh, yeah.
They also picked him. So he's going to be like a mystery spinner alongside with Shadab. And they have Hassan Ali in the pace.
They have really good depth in the middle overs there.
And the one player I hope he's fit, who I'm really looking forward to watch, is Zishan Zamir in the emerging category. He got Babar Azam out last year, and then he got a back injury. So he's back this year. He's one of the next pace bowlers to look out for. And I think he's going to be a very bright future for Pakistan if he stays fit.
What about Quetta?
Quetta also has an incredibly strong bowling attack. So they have Naseem, who is bowling incredibly well. They have Hussain, they have Nawaz, they have Hasaranga.
Wow.
So those are 4 bowlers that you just can't get away.
Yeah, I feel like these Lahore and Quetta just took all the bowlers away.
They've just retained their players, and their players have gotten better year over year. Like Lahore, Hardest Rove was their pick. Zaman Khan they've picked from their PDB program. Shaheen they got emerging category in 2017 or 18 I think, and then they just bought Rashid, and they've retained Rashid. So
I can't wait for, like, you know, in the NBA in the middle of the season where they like switch players. Like Katie and Kyrie were just in the Nets together like literally last week, and now they're in 2 separate teams, and they're now going to be in contention for the title. Wouldn't it be amazing if you just like had like middle of the season, it's like the 30th game or whatever, and like Lahore Qalandar trades, I don't know, Rashid for Naseem, and now Rashid is suddenly in Quetta, Naseem is in Lahore, and now Lahore's balling is that would be so much fun to see. I don't know if they'd ever exercise that, maybe like years into the future, but that'd be wild, wouldn't it? That'd be crazy.
That would definitely be interesting. I would love to see how that pans out if it ever happens.
But again, the season is not that big. Like the NBA season is like 8 months. This is like what, 6 weeks max?
Yeah, I think the closest thing we'll ever see to that is what happens in like last minute supplementary picks. So
like with Shakib coming in,
with Pollard coming in, and then Hafiz coming in for Quetta last minute.
Like that's fun. Like, but imagine that in the middle of the season. Like that'd be really cool to do that.
Of course, yeah. So, I think that's what I'm looking for is this PSL, and also the vibe that I got from Pakistan and the Pakistani public. This is my first time going back to Pakistan since PSL 1 happened.
Yeah.
And so when I went to watch the test match, all of my cousins, all of my friends who I told I'm going to watch the test match, they're like, "Are you crazy? Why are you going to watch a test match on a weekday in a game which probably Pakistan will lose?" So And I asked them like, why not? They're like, well, we only go to watch PSL matches. We only go to watch T20s.
And we could see that because the crowd that turned up tonight for Karachi was not the crowd that turned up for the New Zealand Test matches. Not even the ODIs as much.
Not even though, yes.
Which was a shame because that's a whole other podcast. But where are we putting our values? What are we making as a priority as a board, as cricket fans? If we don't show up for the games that matter, then these at the end of the games, no consequence games don't really have much impact. That's just my opinion on that. But I mean, you got to show up, Karachi. You got like Multan showed up. Rawalpindi showed up for the test matches. Karachi was a no-show, even though the test match that you went to was free entry.
And there were at least 3 to 4 players playing from Karachi. So Shakil, Sarfaraz, Mir Hamza.
So Karachi always complains about them not being represented in the national team, them being the biggest city and having the least representation. Where were you at?
Yeah.
You know?
Yep.
So I mean, definitely a bone to pick with that as well. But I feel like this is a good place to end it. We did cover a lot. In tidbits.
What are your top 4 teams?
Oh, my top 4 teams for the PSL 8. I have Lahore, I have Islamabad, I have Peshawar, and I have Multan.
Okay.
I don't have Quetta.
Okay.
I think Quetta is really good bowling wise, but you got to put runs on the board. Who's going to do that?
Bro, they have Martin Guptill.
They have an old Martin Guptill. They have an old Sarfaraz Ahmed. They have a very veteran side. And again, not to keep bringing NBA into this, but that's what the Lakers did last year. The Lakers had an average age of 35 or 33. Crazy age.
I think in T20s, you need experience. I remember the 20...
Yeah, you also need to like have enough reflexes to hit someone like
I remember the 2020-2021 IPL final. CSK won. And their average age was like 35 or something. Because they had like an old Shane Watson, they had an old Dhoni, they had an old Dwayne Bravo. A team full of oldies, and they pulled through.
I mean, I'd be surprised if they did that, but I'm gonna stick with the new young guns, man. I feel like Lahore can repeat.
You know what's just a crazy stat that I just remembered? Not crazy, but it feels good when I say it. So Shoaib Malik is the arguably one of the greatest T20 players of all time, possibly the best from Pakistan. He's had an incredible past few years in T20s. He's won, I think, most of the trophies he's played for. This is his 8th season in the PSL, but he is yet to win a PSL trophy. So I think maybe he's jinxed. Maybe he's not able to.
What team was he? He was in Peshawar last year.
So Shoaib Malik first year was in Karachi, and then I think after the second or third year he went to Multan, then he went to Peshawar, and then now he's back in Karachi.
Because I remember the first year Afridi was also in Karachi.
No,
he was in Quetta.
He was a captain on Zalmi.
Yeah, and then Afridi
was Zalmi 2016-17.
Came to Karachi as well for a season.
18 he came to Karachi. 19 I think he went to
Quetta.
Did he go to Multan?
No.
Never played for Multan, right?
I think he went to Quetta.
He went to Quetta last season.
Yeah. When did Afridi retire from the PSL? Did he announce this or it was just like
He was just so unfit. Like they bought him in the diamond category, which is one of the second best, and he played like 3 or 4 matches
last year.
Yeah, so that's like.
So why didn't he come out and be like, "Oh, I'm done"?
I don't know. He keeps playing these exhibition matches, so
he looks good. Twitter, are we gonna talk about how hot Shahid Afridi looks? He looks hotter than his own son-in-law.
Yeah,
and I don't want to thirst over Afridi right now because I could go on for hours, but what a man.
Maybe they're Elon Musk is testing his anti-aging stuff on Afridi.
Bro, the people has been testing anti-aging stuff on Afridi, bro. I was watching a 1999 game where Afridi first introduced his shooter. He took out Shane Warne. He took out like all these people in Australia, and his shooter was an in-swinging Yorker at 120 kilometers with 5 steps. That's quicker than you,
bro. One of the shooters he bowled in New Zealand 2010 was faster than at the time a lot of the Indian bowlers played.
Do you remember his spell against Canada in 2011 where he I forget who he got out, but then he bowls a shooter that goes just in and he runs across the field? That's etched into my brain.
It's gonna be a deep cut, but that player's name was I think Harveer Bedwan.
Yeah. Okay. Shout out
Man was shocked, bro. Man was shocked. Like, where did that shooter come from?
Yeah, he got Azaz Chima. No, not Azaz Chima.
Rizwan Chima.
Rizwan Chima out on that game too.
Rizwan Chima, Jimmy Hansara, cut.
Bro, I was just watching all the wickets, all the 21 wickets or 20 wickets he took in 2011. But this guy started with 5 in against Canada, 4 against Sri Lanka, I think 4 against West Indies. It's crazy.
Shahid Afridi in the 2011 World Cup was arguably one of the best World Cup performances by a Pakistani player ever.
Yeah.
21 wickets, and then he went wicketless in the semis, I think.
He took 1 wicket.
He
in
took
semis.
1 wicket. He took 1 wicket. I think he got Afridi out. Or no, he caught Afridi.
He caught
Tendulkar.
Yeah.
But Afridi, which is incredible, man. Just he was the man of the tournament, in my opinion.
Yeah. Who was the man of the tournament? Zaid Khan, I think.
No, it was Yuraj.
Was it Yuvraj?
Zaid Khan was the highest wicket taker.
Yeah, because he played 2. Yeah, an
He
extra
played
game.
he played the final.
Yeah. Well, definitely more conversation about that with the World Cup coming in India this year. Politically speaking and otherwise, what Pakistan should do, what India should do, how to maintain those relationships. I can't wait to talk about that. But right now, I feel like this is a good place to end the pod. Feels good to be back, man. I really wanted to get touch bases with the podcast, with our fans. People have been waiting a lot. The most refreshing thing when I went to Pakistan this year was just people talking about our podcast to us. When
People
it's
actually
back.
listen.
People listen. So I thank everyone who listens, who shares this, who comes up to us and has engagement and talks to us about it. It really means a lot to us. We literally do this out of our house whenever we get free time. So we really appreciate the love and the support. Keep sharing, keep telling people about it. Leave comments, help the algorithm and whatnot. And we'll come back in another couple of days with more PSL news. Whenever there's something crazy happening, we'll definitely do an emergency pod if we need to. And yeah, the PSL is out, man. It's on fire right now. Every day is a new day. It's a new beginning. And I'm just really happy that cricket's back online.
Likewise.
This guy just retweeted me.
My answer is also the same.
All right, that's the end for us, guys. Thank you for watching. Leave a like, comment, subscribe if this is your first time, and we'll see you guys on the next episode. Backward point out.
Cheers.
Cheers.